Okay, so now we are going to enter into one of the sessions, and I'm going to show you the elements of what that looks like. So let's go into this Sanico demo class. Now, a lot of times you may say, okay, that's where I want to go. So you click on it. Okay, so that's not it. That just shows you the class, that session information. So that's a common mistake. So the way to get into the session is this drop-down menu right here where you hit Join Session. Okay, so a lot of times if this is the first time you're joining a session, you may get a little box that pops up that asks you to allow to share your microphone and to share your webcam. So always remember to click allow on those boxes if they pop up. And so the first thing you're going to see here is it's basically just a system check to make sure that you are using the right microphone or the right webcam. So right now I can see that this is bouncing, so it's picking up my voice, so I know it's the right microphone. And so if it wasn't, I could drop the menu down and select the correct microphone. Okay, so that's going to pop up, and that's what that means. So let's take a look here. Okay, so I do have 3 students in my class, Bill and Sandra. They've already joined, and so they are online and working with me right now. And Sensei is one of my students, but he is not participating today, and he's not online. So I do have a little checkbox. If I don't want to see a Sensei here, I could uncheck that. And now it just shows me the online students for that particular session or class. I'll go ahead and put him in here as well. So with this video, I'm just going to review what all these buttons are on here and what it all means. Okay, so we do have the students. If for some reason the student entered the wrong name or something silly or something, you can always click here and edit the name. Okay, just want to point that out. Okay, so along the top, this is your class view. Okay, that's what we're looking at right here. You'll see all your students right here. So the next one is files. Okay, so this shows you all the files that I have uploaded that I can use with this particular session. I can use these if I'm building an exercise. I could select one of the files to put into the exercise. Or if I just want to share a file with the students, I could share that and they will have it. Maybe it's just a picture or an audio file I want them to listen to. It's not tied to any particular exercise, just something I want them to have to review and or to look at. Okay, so so these are your files and you drag and drop them here. And the next tab over is your exercises. This is where you create your exercises. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of samples that I have created already. And the way you do it is you hit new exercise. I'm not going to show you how to create these exercises right now. That'll be in a separate video. But once you have them created, you can, as you can see, I have a couple of them are shared with my students. So you could do that right here. Okay. And the next one is submissions. So that's when a student completes the exercise and sends it back to you. So for Bill's practice, I can click on that. So this is the name of the activity or the exercise. And so you find it like speaking practice. Okay, so I see there was one student who submitted the speaking practice. And I could see, I could click on that and I could see what was done. Okay, so that's class, files, exercises, and submissions. So I'm going to go back to my class view. Okay, so over to the right, you see I have a Speak to Class button. So If I want, I can speak to the entire class. I just click that. You'll notice a little side panel will open up on the right-hand side. And then it'll give me some options here along the bottom as this is preparing right now. So some of the options are, just by clicking on this, I could speak to the class. But if I wanted to share my webcam and have them see me as speaking to them, there's going to be a little button here you'll see shortly that will allow me to share my webcam. And you will also notice a little button here that says share my screen. So perhaps I have a PowerPoint or something that I want to review with them. I could share my screen, they can still hear my voice, and they can follow along with my PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay, so I'm done speaking with the class. So if I just wanted to, perhaps the students were working on something, and if I just want to listen in on Bill, I can click listen, and then I would be monitoring his speaking activity. I can listen in on what's going on. If I wanted to speak to Bill, I can click on speak, and it'll also give me, once again, by default, it'll just give me the audio to speak, but it will give me the option to use video as well. Let me try that here. I'll hit speak, and you'll notice my side panel opens up again, and you'll notice the feature down here at the bottom that'll appear shortly. You'll be able to do your webcam. Let's take a look here. Okay, so there it is. So once again, you'll be able to speak with individual student. You can use your webcam or your screen as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so right now we reviewed these buttons along the top and the speak to class, and then next to speak to class you have a text, a chat box basically. So this is I have this particular chat box enabled by default, but you can disable it right here. So students, when this is enabled, students can populate this with messages or questions to the teacher, or you could send messages as well. You can remove messages, all of them, or individual messages as well. Okay, so that's what that is. Over here you have something. Let's take a look at what settings does. Okay, it takes us back to our microphone and video camera settings. Session information, you'll recognize this. Okay, so if you need to copy the URL, you can see here's the customized URL, and here's the regular one. They're both the exact same one. One just looks a little bit nicer. So if you need to send that out to the students again, you can click on the session information and get that right here, or just use the QR code. If you wanted to edit the instructions, I'm going to drag one of the students. So when a student joins, here's Bill. I'm showing you the student right now. So these are the instructions that are on Bill's screen. So when I created the session, this is the default message that the student sees. Okay, but if I wanted to change that and edit the instructions, I can click that and edit those instructions right there. And this is a session timeline. So you can take a look at that and see what that looks like. And the session dashboard is quite simply takes you back to this dashboard. And if you need help, you can go click help and it'll open up another tab to the Sandico help for Sandico Connect. And end session. So now you're not going to want to click end session. Typically, you only end the session like at the end of a semester or at the end of the school year or something like that. That's when you end a session. If you're just done with the session at the end of the day, you don't end session. All you do is you just close out of it. You just leave the session. That's all. But remember, when you end the session, that's like at the end of a semester or at the end of school year when you no longer want anybody to participate with that link. It invalidates that session link basically. Okay, so that's what that is. So let's take a look at the split button and these buttons. So these are the buttons you use when you want to quickly create a paired or group session. So by hitting the split button, I could put them into different group sizes. Okay. And it has a checkbox here. Only, most times you only want the students that are actually active and online that particular day. If you don't like the way this looks, you can shuffle the groups again. And also keep in mind, these are drag and droppable. So I could drag these things around to put people into different groups. And then you hit create group and it creates the groups. I'm just going to close that for now. I'll be revisiting that in another video. And then just because you put them into groups doesn't mean that they can hear each other quite yet. Their microphones are still turned off by default because perhaps you group them up, but you want to give them some final instructions before they can actually start hearing and talking to each other. So once you're ready to turn on their mics, you just say, okay guys, here we go, and you hit the little microphone and it turns on their mics, and they'll be able to start talking with each other. And that turns off their mics as well. So that's what these buttons are for here. Okay, so now this is an important feature. Okay, so regarding the launch exercise and the exercise. Okay, so what's the difference between exercise and launch exercise? The difference is control. When you use the exercise over here, so I just clicked on exercise and we're going to see the exercises here. So as you can see, I have a few exercises that are shared with my students. So basically, as long as those are shared, my instructions to them are, okay guys, listen, I've shared a few exercises with you, so work at your own pace, but I do want them done by the end of the class today. Just raise your hand if you have any questions. I'll be walking around the room. Maybe something like that. So you can share them and they're going to work on them at their own pace. You could even leave them shared overnight. Even though you're not logged into the system, that doesn't matter. As long as they're shared, you could tell them to have those completed by the end of the day on Friday and submitted. Okay, so so basically you're letting them have control to work at their own pace, versus where you have control. So launch exercise, I'll go ahead and click it, and you'll notice we have some pre-designed exercises already made. And with these are the ones where teacher actually controls the exercise, not the student. So when you put them into a pair discussion, you will be splitting them into groups and you will be recording their discussions, and you can actually turn the recorders on and off and start and stop the activity. You're going to be in complete control. Same thing with the speaking practice. You're going to be turning the recorders on. Maybe you're going to play them an audio file and they're going to need to respond to it, stuff like that. Or you're going to use your own voice. Listening is you're going to let them listen to an audio file where you're going to start it and stop it, or an image. You're going to populate their screen with an image, and you're going to turn the recorders on, and you're going to turn the recorders off. The custom exercise basically is when you click that, it's going to give you a list of all the exercises that you've created. Whereas instead of letting them control it, you're going to use your exercises and you are going to control that. You're going to start and stop the recorders and so forth. Okay, so that's the difference. That's what this launch exercise is, and that's the difference between just sharing an exercise or doing a launch exercise. It's all about control. Okay, so I believe that we've covered all the buttons on the session screen. So thank you for watching.